that has done the same thing, and then see what you guys are thinking and your questions. But a little bit of the why is, one thing I just want to say quickly, we're in a unique position in this community that we're actually growing. We're welcoming families every year, with a lot of young families, a lot of kids. So and that's not true of many churches. So we're very blessed in that regard, that we're growing. And I mean, and we fathers talk extensively. There are Orthodox communities, especially in the Midwest, that are having to strategize how to close a church, how to phase out churches that are declining, and put parishioners to other churches. Like we don't have that problem. We don't have that problem. Fortunately. So we're growing. We have a lot of young families, and part of what we as a church community want to do, we want that as the children grow and come to church, when they get to that crucial age of graduating high school and to college, we don't want to lose them to the world, and they never can come back to church. And that's an overwhelming trend in churches everywhere, not just the Orthodox Church, everywhere. They're leaving in droves. They graduate, they go off into college, into work life, and they never come back. We don't want to have that problem. We want our kids to grow in the church, rooted in their faith, and stay always connected to the church. We want them to grow, get married in the church, raise their kids in the church, and keep that continuum going. We don't want them to sort of leave and never come back, or come back at Easter and Christmas here and there, and we don't want that to happen. And you'll see it even in our community. Some of the young families, our kids that grew up in this church, got married, now they have kids and hope and going and joy and all that. That's exactly what we want. And part of that is educating them. Not only keeping them involved in the church, in the ministries of the church, in catechism, and educating them. So we've been exploring this idea of a school, starting a school. Many Orthodox churches around the country have schools. It's not a unique concept or idea. And they're in different forms. Some are sort of early education. They stay sort of in the pre-K, early ed years. Some grow into sort of a traditional parochial school where they kind of add a year and they grow to an elementary. I mean, we would love to see us be able to grow in the future and go all the way through high school. It would be great. Can we do that? We don't know yet. We're exploring. We put a group together of educators, of parents, of really dedicated individuals who are going to explore this idea and say, can we do this? I think we can sustain it. We've got families, we've got the kids, we've got a great community around us. That I think some of the concerns are, will we have kids to put into school? How are we going to do this? And our overwhelming, the driving force in this is we want excellence. We want to provide a school if we're blessed to make this school happen. We have excellent teachers and strive for excellence and educate children, educate their minds, their bodies, their souls, their spirits. We're not taking this on lightly. It's been done very thoughtfully, carefully, prayerfully. We're doing this slow and steady, and we're not going to we want a school, we're going to make a school happen. If you ask me, I've got young kids, I want this tomorrow, of course, but we want this, it's going to be done the right way. We're taking the steps to do the research. We're bringing in experts and folks who have done this, who know what the steps are, what we need to do. So that's where we are. Some folks, some concerns, I think, where the decisions have already been made and things have already been determined. That's really not the case. We're exploring as we, and again, what's been decided is, yes, we want to try and go forward and make a school. That's a for sure thing. That's what our aim is. We're not just meeting to talk about the idea of a school. We want to go forth and try and make this happen. But decisions are not set in stone, and we're working hard. We're meeting every couple of weeks, believe it or not, to get folks giving their feedback. And like I said, we're bringing in experts who have done this, who have started schools, who know what comes with it, including the financial aspect. And as Father mentioned, this is not meant to be its own thing. It will happen in this beautiful facility that we've expanded into. So it's going to be here, the school will be here, but it's not going to be the burden of the parishioners to pay for it and make it happen. Now, will we gladly accept donations? Well, yes, we will. And we will gladly accept support and prayers and donations and whatever, but that's not where the goal of this is not that it's going to be a burden in any way financially on this community. And I think that's a lot of people's nervousness is, what is that going to mean? We've already got this huge undertaking. So just let that, allay any concerns in that regard. I don't want to keep prattling on, so I think we'll start the video and then welcome your thoughts and your feedback and your questions. Tell us what's on your mind.
I was trained in both the psychology of learning and education and educational research. And I've worked 30 years in Georgia in educational planning and development. And what I'd like to have is anywhere from about 20 minutes to talk to the committee sometime, not today, at your convenience. Because I think while you have some insights to some of the needs, I don't think you have surveyed the whole picture. I'd like to share that with you. And one of your committee members, in a discussion with her about this, said, I probably should talk to the committee sometime. So that's all I want to say today.
Is there anything specific that you think we should make sure we're aware of? And obviously, you can expound on that.
I think, first of all, your rationale for it is not broad enough. It's not encompassing enough. And second of all, I think some insights into the difference between classical and liberal arts. They're cousins to each other. But the two, you need to be aware of both and the value of both.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's very
And again, this is just
one example.
one example of different things that
Well,
we're
I think
exploring.
they're both in the right ballpark, but it's just a matter of emphasis and relationship to the American culture. The American culture needs to be perpetuated.
Absolutely, yeah. And it would not be a school focused on, we've already decided certain things as far as Christian being in the title of the school, not Orthodox, so that it can welcome, because a lot of people don't know what the word Orthodox means. They think, that must be a Jewish school, or that must be a cult of sorts. A lot of people don't know what that word means. So we've already, I would say that we've already decided that it is going to be called a Christian school and operate as a Christian school. However, it will encompass, some of the Orthodox faith and the basics involved around that, but not to a sense where it's going to exclude students who are not part of the Orthodox faith, because we want to welcome everyone from the surrounding communities, East Cobb, Roswell, Kennesaw, as the Catholic schools do. There's many kids that go to Catholic school that are not Catholic, and vice versa for any of the religious schools. Okay.
One of the differences is that Catholicism and Catholic school parochial schools are not necessarily selling Catholicism. They're selling education.
Absolutely, as we are as well.
I get the impression from talking to people and hearing what people say, we're going to be specifically orchestrating Orthodoxy. And I think that's going to be a hard sell to the community.
You are correct.
Correct.
You are absolutely correct.
And I'm wondering if the committee has done a step with the number of parochial schools that are failing throughout the United States that have closed their doors, including Orthodox parochial schools. Have we done a study about how many are successful and how many are failing?
Let me say that I feel like there's, and I too was misinformed about the success of the Annunciation Day School at the Cathedral. It was my understanding that it was not going well. I had just kind of heard to the grapevine. However, I was pleasantly misinformed that they are this year alone donating $80,000 to the church from their funds. Also, only 10% of their students are from
That's the church.
the cathedral. The rest are all just, non-Orthodox Christians, or, sending their children to school there. And so that's what we hope. I mean, obviously we'd like to have more than 10%, but
What's the curriculum there?
I'm unaware of what the curriculum is there.
But we will be exploring that.
Yeah.
Probably not classical.
No,
No.
It's not, we know that it's not classical. I think it's basically your basic curriculum that just doesn't
Contemporary.
really have it.
Contemporary
so-called.
stuff.
And we've been gravitating towards and exploring in detail classical curriculum because in our research, and we've done copious research, we are seeing so many wonderful benefits. So you'll hear us talk about classical a lot because we're doing the research on that, and it's overwhelming. And Father can get here and talk for an hour about it and tell you lots about it, but
Yeah.
that would do justice.
I know that one of our biggest things is that we do want the curriculum to be developmentally appropriate.
that was the biggest thing, development.
Because a lot of times in a lot of schools, they're giving children a lot more than what developmental
What does
education.
developmentally appropriate mean?
They're not giving them.
It means, well, from my perspective, what it means is it is not a Common Core based curriculum. I have two kids in elementary school, one in first, one in fourth, and I'll be the first to tell you it's not developmentally appropriate because it's never been examined by a developmental psychologist, ever.
They're being
And
asked to
we-
do something that is not, that
within
is,
their capability, within their realm of capabilities. And so we're looking to explore different options for curriculums that we know.
Developmentally appropriate curriculum pays attention to the various stages of development
Yes.
of the child,
Exactly.
what they are able to handle, and
Even
how
as-
they learn.
even
and
as small as,
various
you know,
kinds of learning.
Fine motor skills. You're asking a kindergartner to write 4 sentences. Even things as small as that. You know,
Yes.
But you also have parties that are the difference between kids as well
Right.
as the average.
of course,
And that
of
is not
course,
commonly done.
of course, absolutely, absolutely. I think that you had an issue. Yes, sir.
I just had a thought. You're saying you should have Orthodox or nothing in the name. Do the other Orthodox schools have Orthodox in the name?
The cathedral does not. There's just called the Annunciation Day School.
The other thought I had was, I really think that that's missing an opportunity in the sense that maybe that's the way to open up the door to people to say, hey, look, this is Orthodox, is based on Orthodox teachings, which are historical. And to put stuff into perspective, you got to have a good base in history, which none of the schools that I know of can have a good base in history,
Right.
and present that as a differentiator to
Yeah.
other schools where, you know, I look around and the only Orthodox school between here and Florida is down at St. John.
St. John the Wonderful.
And that's a hybrid school, right? And
The basis will be orthodoxy. I think more than anything, for us, the name, just the actual name, just to draw people in.
the
We felt
Roman
that
Catholic school says Roman Catholic school.
that people know what Catholicism is. And a lot of people don't even know what the word Orthodox. I mean, even at 36 years of age, I'm still asked by people who have known me forever, you know, questions such as, what? Oh, well, I mean, I'm a Christian. What
I
are
didn't know
you
what
in?
Orthodox
Right.
was until
They don't-
I
they
looked
don't
and
get it.
asked and found out. I mean, it's,
well, and the thing is too, is when they come to our open house, it's going to be told, it's not like we're trying to hide it. And they'll have to realize that we are going to celebrate saint days. We are going to celebrate, you know, the holidays
I
of the
understand
church,
all that,
right?
but I also understand that if in the southeast, there's how many schools that are Christian schools, but they're from non-denominational, Lutheran, from every flavor of Christianity,
Right.
that you don't know, you can't compare one to the other
Right.
because you don't know what their perspective is. And it takes you a lot of research and all that kind of stuff. At least, you know, I think that gives a perspective on there.
Yeah.
You know, because you can confuse with the Catholic Church if you put, St. Andrew's school or something
Right.
like that. They may think, you're a Catholic,
Right.
or you're this or you're that. And I don't know, I just think that's just my opinion.
You want the
I mean,
It's just missing
differentiation.
an
It's a
opportunity
good
to
point.
differentiate
Yeah.
between everybody else because, you know, there's a lot of different groups that call themselves Christian. You have the Mormons down that don't even believe divinity of Christ, and they call themselves
And
Christian.
we do, as a committee, agree with you, and the basis will be, and we've already had the discussions about teaching,
I mean, I'm just-
ancient Greece and the language and things, I mean, it will be
Yeah,
there.
I mean,
And we
I just
agree,
wanted to put it out
Yeah.
there what my thoughts are because it was.
we agree with you,
I
yeah.
thought it was a missing opportunity. And then has there ever been a thought to starting the school as a hybrid school and then graduating slowly to a
How do you mean hybrid?
You mean-
school
yeah.
that they have also teachers in there for specific subjects to help.
I think that the goal is that it would be a formal school. And again, at this moment in time, the initial exploration is having a pre-K kindergarten first and second and growing it. And because we want it to be accredited, so we are even now exploring what does it take to accredit, what do we need to do, and it'd be a little more formal. So in that sense, it probably would be.
The reason I say this is because we had a friend a Roman Catholic friend that started, I think in, before Woodstock. Started a hybrid school in like the only Latin parish in Atlanta. But they started a hybrid school in the basement, and then they grew so big that they opened up a regular parochial school
Gotcha.
from there without burden financially or anything like that. And then also still being able to help the students not only just in the elementary, but all the way up.
Right.
Yeah.
Should we use them?
I mean, that's a good option.
Yeah, we were actually just talking about the co-op.
Right.
Right when we started, I was like, oh, that's what I wrote down this week. We need to talk to Father about exploring the option offering a co-op as well, you know, so yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
One of the things that I like most of our parishioners, bounced through my head is cost. I mean, has somebody done a business plan, look at this? What, the number of students to make it viable, the number of, whether the rate of tuition to make it viable, what's the type of teacher salaries we're going to have? You say you want
We've
to
been
have
all of that right
Yeah.
as we speak, and we've been advised that the structure that we're exploring now, it would take a minimum of just 8 students per class. And in 8 students per class to make
At $8,000.
but again, that's not hard and fast, this is what it's gonna cost us.
Right,
But just
exactly.
that example, around 8,000, which to compare to other schools is less than other schools in our area. At 8 students per class, 4 classes, it's viable. Now, that's not necessarily gonna be our ratio, but we're exploring that now, we're looking at what is the seed money to start. You know, within 2 to 3 years, it could be self-sustaining. We will not, we're saying this hard and fast, we're not going to ask the church for money.
Well, you already have it indirectly.
I mean, we will not,
For classrooms down there.
but we
They're
do,
gonna be-
whether we start a school or not, that's still.
They're gonna have to be maintained 7 days a week or 6
Right.
days a week. So in a way, the parish is going to be paying through maintenance, through
Right.
energy costs, some of the costs
Right.
of that for the school.
Surely they'll have to, surely that will be taken into account in our grant money that we will receive
one of our-
will be fed
Yeah,
into
the school
that.
will lease.
Surely.
Right, so
Yeah.
that's my
Yeah.
next point. We, again, upon advice from
Thank
folks
you
that
for
have done it
saying
and done it well,
Thank you.
within 2 or 3 years of starting the school, they got the accreditation, they were established, and they were in position 3 years in to be paying rent to the church to the tune of
Right,
$8,000 or more. So it's gonna benefit the church in the long run for
It
sure.
would seem to me that we would be benefiting by
Right.
using those classrooms.
Yeah, and they'd be
for
sitting-
schools to
and-
help to pay for.
And just to give you perspective on, of course, whether school happens or not, we'll be using those classrooms. Granted, it might be 1 or 2 days a week, but I can tell you from experience, I've taught in catechism here, I've taught in the Holy Studies program here. And a few years back, the downstairs rooms, we were using every classroom, including the nursery and the hallway as teaching space. We were out of space.
Well,
So our community needs it regardless, so I don't want you to feel like we're making this, yeah.
The number of questions is innocent, because
Yeah.
I'm in charge of the construction, I know exactly what they want to do, I know what sizes they are. To me, pardon me, grossly oversized, but in order to become an accredited school, you have to do that.
Right.
Yes.
Now, what does it take personnel-wise to become a clerk? You have to have a headmaster, you have to have president, vice president, you have to have council.
All of that
And
as,
you're going to have a salary burden, plus liability insurance. I'm sure you're looking at all the costs. But before I could sit there and raise my hand and say, yes, I'm for this, I would like to see a business plan.
I will tell you, your exact questions, every single word you said, we are
Yeah.
discussing right now this week. And
All in the instruction
at our next
stages,
meeting,
all.
which is tomorrow,
Mhm.
we are going to, and we have a timeline of as we add things to our to-do list. The next thing is we need to send someone to formally begin the business plan. So we're there, what your concerns, what your thoughts were there right at this moment, that's where we are. We are asking those questions. We are figuring out
We're
what
starting
does it take to
grant
start. I mean, how many
applications.
staff do we need to even just open the doors to 20 kids? What are their salaries going to be? What do we really need to charge? What, all of those things are being explored now. And I don't have, we threw out some numbers, but again, that's just a for example. That's not necessarily what this will be. But we know that it's a monumentous task, but it's not one that can't be done. And if it's meant to happen and we put the work and the effort and prayers in, it will happen. Will it happen tomorrow? Probably not. We have this goal in mind of next academic year. That may not be realistic. It may be the following year, maybe further out. But just even the survey results were very positive, and a lot of people, especially the demographic of people with younger families, want to see it soon. They want to see it the next 2 to 3
There
years.
was only 8% that did not want the school.
So,
15
and the ones that were very in favor of it are the people with families, the people who that want it soon, the next 2 to 3 years. So knowing that, we're going forward and trying to answer all these questions and bring in experts that know it, have done it, doing research and seeing how it's been done. Again, nothing is set in stone and carved and this is done, this decision's made. That's not where we're working towards that. We want to be able to come out and say, okay, this is the mission of the school, this is our vision. This is what we're doing, laid out, spelled out. And so then when we go out to the community and say, we have a school here, a Christian school, it's Orthodox faith. We want to be able to tell them exactly what it is and draw folks in from our church and from, and it realistically will probably will be populated, it won't be 100% Holy Transfiguration families, it'll be families from outside. So we're there. Trust us that we're trying
The
to.
mission and the goal is admirable, there's no doubt about that. I just get concerned, what we're doing now, and we've done in the last 2 years, and we're going forward, we've taken on a tremendous step level. If you look at our projections for the next 20 years, we're going to be hard pressed to
Meet
meet those requirements. And if it's going to have any burden whatsoever,
It's not.
then you're kind of sinking the ship.
And I'll tell you,
It is a
well, we
small-
can't make it happen, then it's not gonna happen, because we will not go to the community and say, can you budget us some money for this school? We will not do that, and that is one thing that is carpet, so we're not, we will welcome people's donations, trust me, we'll say, here's some,
And
we
we
would love
are
that, but
researching
Right,
foundations
yes, right.
that typically support Christian schools.
Mhm.
And we've identified some foundations that do specifically support Christian schools. But we're reaching beyond foundations as well to other sources.
And there's even some, after doing some digging, there's even some federal grant money for private Christian schools for things such as, us being able to have our own garden and grow food that the kids can eat and turn that into a science lesson. And I mean, there's a lot of money out there.
Hoops to come through.
Right,
Of
and we
course
know
there
that,
is,
right?
yeah, of course
We're
there is.
searching
It's a
everything.
long process for the grants and fund, yes, it's a long process. And none of this, I assure you, is being done haphazardly. None of this is being done with the flick of a wrist. We are all very cognizant of the fact that if we don't do this right, it's not going to work for us in the end. It's going to come back to bite us. We have to do this correctly and with the right advice and the right resources and with our minds and hearts in the right place.
And we have success stories from many Metro Atlanta Christian schools that have started from the ground up. And they have had their struggles, and there will be struggles, but they're going to be, I like to call them challenges. I don't like to call them struggles. I like to call them challenges because it's for something that we really want. And from their challenges, we can learn what to do. That will make our life a
I
lot
hear what
easier.
you're saying, and I agree with you, but unfortunately also from a pragmatic, I sit there and look around the number that have failed over the last 10 years, that have been around for 10 to 15 years, that still have failed. Some that have failed, that had over 200 students. That causes me concern. And I know you're going to do your research, and I heard what Father said, I hear what you're saying, and that's great if we can do it. That would even be greater. I just get concerned about the endeavor. I don't think the endeavor is wrong, I just get concerned about it.
We are too. I am very concerned because
Right.
if it fails, we reflect back on me first, as a priest, as the head of the parish. And I'm very concerned too. That's why we're not going to rush. I would not rush. I would not allow the school to move forward if I am not convinced that this is going to be a success. Which means that we will need to have money, we need to have all kinds of things in place.
I think the other critical part, to Jim's point, I think a lot of failure comes because strong foundations aren't initially laid.
Right.
They're rushed into too quickly, and I think should the parish decide to move forward, it would be my recommendation that we begin very humbly and small with a pre-K kindergarten. Okay? Because now parents are more willing to take a chance because kindergarten isn't required. Show them an environment, a very warm, welcoming environment, an environment that may provide them a very different experience. And then through word of mouth, that foundation gets laid and built stronger and wider and deeper, such that they're coming to us saying, when are you going to go to first grade? I want to stay here. And it's at that point in time where you have this very strong foundation, you have now the reputation developed, and they begin coming. And I think if you jump, and I think a lot of failure, Jim, to your point, begins because they want to grow too quick. They have greater aspirations than what they have a plan or an understanding of.
Yes.
And it's all about money. So you start at the higher level, you need more money, you don't get the money, you fail.
But you have to work out all the kinks. When you start a school, or even your first year, all of your teachers, your first year, the first week of the class, you've got to get to know the kids, the chemistry. What's missing? You have books for this. Which child, all the stuff you have to work out all the kinks for the first 2 years. And then you're ready to go on, okay, what do we need to get these children to have them ready to start your first grade class? And then before they get into second grade, it's a different curriculum. And, there's just a lot of things to work out, and trying to work them out in 4 years, I think it's hard. And those kids that start off will be your guinea pigs all the way through. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I wouldn't want my child to be the first one to be in first grade, the first one in second grade, the first one in third grade. I want that established before my child, I don't have that, but before my child in third grade.
That's an excellent point, in order to establish someone's got to be the first grade, the first second, so we're taking all that.
Right, I know you are, that's what I'm saying, there's a lot of questions, but
Well,
y'all are still.
We haven't done anything yet.
Yeah, you're not a curriculum,
Right.
just the curriculum and the programs or
No, but
anything.
this is good advice, and it's good thoughts, these are good thoughts. So,
Well, I wrote all that in my survey.
Good.
I wrote a lot.
we'll get there, and we'll continue to get input from people, especially parents. Once the time comes, we're going to get the parents who are interested to come and sit down and tell us what they want. I think that would be the best way to do it. And then you kind of respond to the parents by doing what the parents want, and then you're kind of safer that way than if you say, this is what we're going to do, and if you like it, come in.
Probably could you put like in the monthly Siniac get a little update of what's happening, and these are the plans, and if you have ideas, something that they can.
Eventually we will, but you see, that's the point. We don't really have specifics to give to people.
Because everybody has a lot of questions, because we're not sure where everything's going.
And
But
we
it's
don't
still
have,
too early.
and we don't have concrete answers, you know what I mean? So we don't want to say something and
Yeah.
people hold us to it, and then
So,
we're like,
setting up the
it's
base.
just so
We will.
beginning stages. It's just so beginning
Oh,
stages.
I mean, there's a lot of things that we know. We want small class sizes. We want it to be, of course, price centered. We want to, we just want to offer a really loving, embracing.
Make use of our land, we want to
Right.
make use of our land, a lot of outdoor, hands-on. We want to present ourselves in a manner to where it's not awkward or strange for others who aren't Orthodox to join in. But yeah, you guys have every right to know every single step of what's going on. And of course, when we get to the point where we can actually
Keep
say.
giving us your
clearly,
input too.
we
Keep
will
giving,
share.
because especially those of you who have been teachers all these years and have so much experience, keep giving us the input.
Yeah,
And come to the meetings.
absolutely, yeah.
Come to the meetings, when we do something open like this, but even to the meetings when we do the meeting, and give us your input, because I don't know very much about schools. I'm learning everything now. You guys, of course, have been teachers for all these years, but you never started at school before, right? So we're all learning, and that's why we really need people to kind of correct us at some point, but also give feedback and give input so that we can actually be able to do it right.
Well, I've seen something, actually, I used to teach at Mount Pisgah, when it had maybe 40 children in a preschool setting. And now it's got a high school with a waiting list, and that was within 20 years. And they had an elementary school, probably up to 5th grade, within 7 years. So it's really possible, and to see that growth is amazing, because parents want that option. Some parents want the option, and the option now is to send them to a Catholic school, if they want a Christian option, a Catholic school, a Lutheran school, or whatever. So we want to make sure that we have an option for our children. If they want to go to a Christian school, that's the option that they'll have.
Well, thank you, everybody, for taking the time.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.